Hello friends, welcome back to my channel Agrawal Academy. Okay, so here we are again with a very fresh topic that as the title name suggests, the topic name is jaundice. Okay, so request to all to understand the topic, please watch the video till the end. If you watch till the end, then only you will get clearly the concept of what the jaundice is. Okay, don't forget to like and subscribe if you like the video, and click on the bell icon to get a notification as soon as I upload the video. So to start with the jaundice, okay, so always whenever we discuss the topic, must have seen the prior two videos. If you have not, please go and see the videos. So we always start with a very basic informative knowledge and then we proceed toward the disease. So prior, jaundice. What is jaundice? Jaundice is nothing but a yellow pigmentation of the skin or the sclera by bilirubin. Okay, so normally the level of the bilirubin in your body is, the level of the bilirubin, normal bilirubin level in your body is 0.2 to 1.2 milligram per deciliter. Okay, this is a normal level of the bilirubin in your body. Okay, whenever this exceed the 1.2 milligram per deciliter, we called it as hyperbilirubinemia. Hyperbilirubinemia. Okay, still we don't call it as jaundice because at 1.2 milligram per deciliter, your skin does not start to get pigmented. Okay, skin or the sclera. When it exceeds to 2 or in some text 2.5 milligram per deciliter, at that time the yellow pigmentation occur on your skin or sclera, and that is the time we called it as jaundice. So jaundice is basically the yellow pigmentation of the skin or the sclera. Okay, so actually if you talk about the bilirubin is actually it is a product of the breakdown of the hemoglobin. And why the hemoglobin breakdown? Hemoglobin breakdown because RBC breaks down after 120 days. Everybody know that adult RBC is enucleated. Enucleated means that RBC don't have nucleus. Okay, if RBC don't have nucleus, it don't have DNA RNA. DNA RNA नहीं है तो वो अपने आप को रीजेनरेट नहीं कर पाएगा, और अपने आप को अगर रीजेनरेट नहीं कर पाएगा तो 100% क्या होगा कि आफ्टर सम टाइम it will get old. And if it will get old, primarily narrow vessels, if the narrow vessels come, see RBC is flowing, and if the narrow vessels come, because of the elasticity of its membrane, it can easily pass through the narrow membranes. But now what happened, as it is getting older day by day, now it cannot pass through this narrow vessel, and now it gets stuck up in this narrow vessel. If it gets stuck up in the narrow vessel, the macrophage will come and eat this RBC. And approximately 120 days, after 120 days, RBC get old, and after that it cannot regain the shape, or it does not have that elastic property, and because of that it gets stuck up into narrow vessels, and then macrophages come and eat the RBCs. So this basically the destruction of the erythrocyte is actually occurring in the reticuloendothelial system, in your spleen, bone marrow and the liver. Majority of it take place in the spleen itself. Okay, so in this way what happened, that your bilirubin RBC, which is containing the hemoglobin, okay, this RBC which is containing the hemoglobin is now getting breakdown. Okay, so actually hemoglobin is made up of heme and globin. Okay, globin is nothing but a protein which will break down into amino acid, and amino acid will then re-enters the circulation. Okay, it will re-enter the circulation. Talking about the heme, so what is heme made up of? So first of all, it is iron. Okay, actually the hemoglobin structure will be this way: iron in between, then the ring, protoporphyrin ring, and then the globin chain. So 4 globin chain. If it is 2 alpha and 2 beta, then we called it as hemoglobin A. If it is 2 alpha globin chain and 2 delta, we called it as hemoglobin A2. If it is 2 alpha and 2 gamma, we called it as hemoglobin F. Okay, so this is the according to the globin chain. According to the difference in the globin chain, we differentiated as hemoglobin A, hemoglobin A2, hemoglobin F. So we have hemoglobin A in majority. So now this hemoglobin is breaking down into heme and globin. Okay, this globin is an amino, will break down again into amino acid, and the protein will be, amino acid will be reutilized in your body. Heme, of course, now the ring and the iron. So to iron, some part of the iron will go into the circulation and will get attached to the transferrin, and some of it cannot be in the free form, so it will attach to the protein called apoferritin. So iron will get attached to the protein apoferritin, and this now iron and apoferritin will start collecting in the body. So this storage of iron is called as hemosidrin. Hemosidrin. But hemosidrin is a storage of iron in the body which is not damaging your organ. So this storage of iron is not damaging your organs. But if this amount of iron, this storage amount of iron, if it exceed, then what happens and start damaging the organs, then the term from hemosidrin will change to hemochromatosis. Okay. So in this way, iron is also again reutilized. Some is getting attached to transferrin and some is actually stored in the body. The unrequired form is stored in the body, and that level is called as hemosidrin. But if it is the storage is getting exceed and it start damaging the organ, then we call it as hemochromatosis. Okay, so this was about the iron. Then if you talk about heme, so heme get convert into first biliverdin. It get convert into biliverdin, and biliverdin, if get convert into biliverdin, with the help of enzyme heme oxygenase. Okay, it get convert with the help of heme oxygenase. Heme oxygenase, and in this process it require NADPH. It required NADPH and oxygen. Okay, and with the help of heme oxygenase, it will get converted into biliverdin. Now biliverdin will again then convert into bilirubin with the help of biliverdin reductase enzyme. Biliverdin reductase enzyme. This bilirubin, okay, this bilirubin is unconjugated. Okay, it is not conjugated, it is unconjugated. Unconjugated, or we itself called it as indirect bilirubin. कॉन्जुगेशन का मतलब होता है चिपकना, इसके साथ कुछ नहीं है. अब ये फ्री फॉर्म में बिलिरुबिन अनकॉन्जुगेटेड है, इनडायरेक्ट बिलिरुबिन है. ठीक है. सो आरबीसी break down after 120 days into hemoglobin. Hemoglobin break down into heme and globin. Globin is a protein which will get reutilized. Heme will break down into iron. Iron will get, some of a part will be stored and some part will be into the circulation, and then heme will be converted with the help of heme oxygenase into biliverdin, and biliverdin then biliverdin reductase, with the help of that it will get converted into bilirubin, and that bilirubin is actually unconjugated or indirect bilirubin. Now this unconjugated or indirect bilirubin will now enter the circulation, and after it enters the circulation, it will get attached to the plasma protein. It will get attached to the plasma protein. You know plasma protein, albumin, globulin, fibrinogen. These proteins are present in the plasma, and as soon as this unconjugated bilirubin comes into the circulation, it will get attached with the albumin. Okay, so with this I want to discuss something like just of the case that albumin is very important to get attached to unconjugated bilirubin, because when the albumin is attached to the unconjugated bilirubin, the size of the molecule become big. The size of the molecule become big. So as the size of the molecule become big, now it cannot be filtered by the kidneys. Why it cannot be filtered by the kidneys? Because see, the pores of the kidneys are very small. So it cannot filter the protein from it. So this unconjugated bilirubin cannot be washed out from the kidney because it is now a big molecule, because it is attached to the albumin. First of all, so it will not get washed out from the kidney. Secondly, it will also not cross the blood-brain barrier. Now what is the blood-brain barrier? It is just a barrier, is just a name. Everything from the circulation, okay, cannot cross this barrier. Barrier means your vessels are lined by endothelial cells. So endothelial cells are tightly packed in the brain. If in the brain blood vessels, so brain blood vessels do have this endothelial tightly packed. So anything cannot cross this endothelial cell and cannot come into the nervous system. So as this molecule is big, this also cannot cross the blood-brain barrier and come into the nervous system. So this is a good thing if albumin is getting attached to the unconjugated bilirubin. In case of, if you must have heard, neonates get jaundice, and after that they develop Kernicterus icterus. Okay, Kernicterus icterus is a point where the bilirubin enters into the brain. And why it happens so? Because in neonates, what happen? You don't have adequate amount of albumin which can conjugate to the unconjugated bilirubin. So that's why. So they, in the circulation, they have lot of unconjugated bilirubin. First thing, because they don't have albumin in a large amount. And secondly, their blood-brain barrier is also not developed properly. Okay, so first cause was that they don't have albumin in adequate amount, and secondly, they don't even have this blood-brain barrier developed properly. Okay, so with this two cause, if the unconjugated bilirubin level rises in the neonate, so what happened? That they are more prone to get Kernicterus icterus. Okay, so what we give this treatment in this, actually everybody must know that phototherapy. So phototherapy means a special type of light is shown to the baby. That special type of light, what do it do? मतलब वो treatment modality क्या है? Simple है कि it will convert this isomer, this unconjugated bilirubin and albumin, this unconjugated bilirubin, it will convert this bilirubin into photoisomer, and this photoisomer does not require to go into the liver and then get conjugate and then get excrete out. This unconjugated bilirubin after the phototherapy will directly convert into photoisomer and can excrete out. So one therapy is phototherapy. Okay, second is tin protoporphyrin. Tin protoporphyrin we give. Tin protoporphyrin, what does it do? You must be knowing that heme get convert into biliverdin with the help of the enzyme heme oxygenase. Okay, so this heme oxygenase, so what do? We give the drug tin protoporphyrin. Okay, I must be wrong with the spelling. So tin protoporphyrin will what? It will actually inhibit this enzyme, and now heme will not get into converted into biliverdin, and biliverdin will not get converted into bilirubin. So in short, bilirubin जो बन रहा है वो ही कम बन रहा है. So we give the treatment like phototherapy, tin protoporphyrin in Kernicterus icterus patients. Okay. Now this unconjugated bilirubin along with the albumin will now from the sinusoid will enter the liver. Okay, in the liver, in the endoplasmic reticulum, this process is occurring. Okay, so this part of the cell which is facing to the sinusoid, we called it as sinusoidal membrane, and the side which is facing to the biliary caniculi is called as canicular membrane. Okay, so now unconjugated bilirubin enters the endoplasmic reticulum. This unconjugated bilirubin which is present here with the help of the enzyme glucuronyl transferase. Okay, glucuronyl transferase will now glucuronyl transferase will transfer what? Will transfer glucuronic acid to the unconjugated bilirubin, and now the unconjugated bilirubin, now that bilirubin is attached with the glucuronic acid, and thus it become the conjugated bilirubin. Simple. Now attachment is there. See, metabolism is, this is going on, bilirubin metabolism is going on. Metabolism is what? Metabolism is nothing but a biotransformation, a biological transformation occurring in your body. Biologically transformation is occurring, and that is actually the majority of the metabolism is done by your liver. So that's what here it is going on, bilirubin metabolism. And why the metabolism process is necessary? Because with the help of the metabolism we excrete out many things around. Okay, it makes the substance water soluble. Similarly, unconjugated bilirubin is lipid soluble, but now after the addition of glucuronic acid, this conjugated bilirubin has become water soluble. First it was not water soluble, it was lipid soluble, it was alcohol soluble, but it was not water soluble. So if it was not water soluble, it was not excreted out. But now after the addition of glucuronic acid, it has become water soluble, and hence now this can be excreted out. Okay, so there is a disorder. As we are discussing at this phase, I want to discuss something more, and that is that if there are two disorders, one disorder is called as Gilbert syndrome and another is Crigler-Najjar syndrome. Okay, so Gilbert syndrome is a syndrome where there is this glucuronyl transferase enzyme, this enzyme is, as compared to normal human being having the cells, this enzyme, in this syndrome the patient is have less. For example, the patient is having very less amount of glucuronyl transfer in him or her. So because of that whole of the if any stress come around, if infection come around, if in any condition where there hemolysis occur, where RBC breakdown occur, hemoglobin is getting converted into bilirubin in a very large amount. So in this syndrome, what will happen? All the unconjugated bilirubin cannot be converted into conjugated bilirubin. And why this is so? Because the patient is having deficient of glucuronyl transferase enzyme. Okay, so this is one, the syndrome. Second is Crigler-Najjar syndrome. Crigler-Najjar syndrome is a syndrome. In this syndrome, the patient have zero glucuronyl transfer, and this disorder is actually the fatal disorder, because in this situation the patient have zero amount of the enzyme, and if it has zero amount of enzyme, then unconjugated bilirubin now cannot be converted into the conjugated bilirubin, and hence this disease is fatal. Okay, so after the conjugated bilirubin is formed, that bilirubin plus glucuronic acid is formed, it is now along with the transporter MRP2, this transporter present on the canicular membrane will now get entry into the what? Biliary caniculi. So this transporter is again important, MRP2, because some people have genetic disorder, it is a autosomal recessive disease, Dubin-Johnson syndrome. In this syndrome, what happened? That patient has a deficient of MRP2 transporter, and because of that this conjugated bilirubin cannot enter the biliary caniculi. Okay, now conjugated bilirubin, after when it is formed, it enters the biliary caniculi. This is right hepatic duct, this is left hepatic duct. Right and left hepatic duct form the common hepatic duct. Okay, this hepatic duct runs down. This is a gallbladder, and gallbladder has a cystic duct. So cystic duct plus this hepatic duct together form common bile duct. This common bile duct crosses the intestine, and then it actually joins the main pancreatic duct. Together they actually opens into the second part of the small intestine, and that is duodenum. They open into the duodenum, and here is a sphincter present called as sphincter of Oddi. Okay, so in this way, right and left hepatic duct, common hepatic duct joins the cystic duct of the gallbladder, form the common bile duct, and common bile duct get then attached to the pancreatic duct, and then the flows come out in the duodenum. Okay. as the conjugated bilirubin come along in the small intestine, it is acted upon by the bacteria, and where it convert into urobilinogen. Okay. And so some part of this is actually converted into stercobilinogen, and then stercobilinogen is then converted to stercobilin, which give brown color to your feces. Okay, and a fraction of it of urobilinogen is get reabsorbed from the portal vein into the liver, and from the liver again into the circulation, and from the circulation to the kidney, where urobilinogen get convert into urobilin, giving yellow color to the urine. Okay, so in this way your bilirubin metabolism has been occurred. Okay, thank you for listening the video, and if you like the video, please subscribe and like the video.